More conducive to the beach, I must say, than are playing First Division Rugby League. Well, changes galore have been forced on the Balmain selectors by their side's inability to come up with wins. So, with all these changes, it's going to take a little bit of identification. Let's have a look now at these sides take the field. Balmain side coming onto the field right now. This is the full team. Phil Schaefer, Stephen Kerr, John Davidson, Wayne Wigham, Peter Grounds, Lloyd Martin, Percy Knight captain, Craig Clark, Ron Pillen, John Bilbidger, Ian Thompson, Neil Whittaker, Rod Morris, and the coach Frank Stanton. Percy Knight, number 7, the halfback who takes over as captain for the first time. His selection for the leadership role is justified in that he's been by far the team's best and most consistent player. Now Canterbury led by their skipper George Papanis through the streamers and coloured paper. And here's the full side. Greg Brentwell, Chris Anderson, Chris Mortimer, Peter Mortimer, Steve Gearan, Stephen Folkes, Steve Mortimer, Alan Geelan, Peter Casillas, Dave Moffat, Jeff Robinson, George Papanis, John Coveney, and Ted Glossop is the coach. Graham Hughes, the very much informed second rower, has withdrawn with a hamstring strain. He's replaced by this man, Dave Moffat, in the second row. The referee, Mr. Kevin Roberts. Since Canterbury entered first grade in 1935, there have been 108 games. That's 98 premiership matches between the two clubs. Balmain have won 55. Canterbury have won 49, drawn 4. At Leichhardt, 37 games. Balmain have won 23, Canterbury 13, and there's been 1 draw. Balmain running from right to left. Chris Anderson in possession, wrapped up about the 10-metre line. Good crowd in attendance, brilliant conditions, the ground in great condition. Barry Ross, the breeze at the moment.
Favouring Canterbury at this stage, not very strong again, a very pleasant day.
Jeff Robinson, the crowd's favourite at Belmore. It's up and looks daggers at Percy Knight. Intercept taken by Percy Knight. He's very quick to react to that. Let's see Rod Morris straight away on to number 8 there. That's Craig Clark, the young lock forward. Bilbidger, heavily tackled, about 11 or 12 metres out. And a penalty against Coveney for holding back a Balmain player. Gives the opportunity to the Tigers to get first points on the board. Steve Kerr's record in its embryo stage, 1 goal from 2 attempts, an exact 50% ratio of success. He's a metre inside the quarter. He's about 19 metres in from the sideline. Strikes that well. And just away to the left. Perilously close to being over the top of the left-hand upright, but no goal. Kick dead line. Brentnell drives a long drop, and that is a long kick. Stopped by the foot of Phil Schaefer. Showed the ball as if he was going to kick. Took the tackle. Whittaker at dummy half. Clark onto Bilbidger. 8 metres from halfway, midfield. On the blind side goes Morris. Good pass out there to Kerr. That came from Ian Thompson. Along the line it comes, Lloyd Martin. John Davidson, one of the new centres at the halfway line. Percy Knight cuts out a man. The pass looked marginally forward. Last tackle coming up. And Whittaker does a little grub kick to make about 4 metres. Steve Mortimer feeds, and this is the Whittaker statistic. 29 from 51, that's 56.9. Doing a great job for the Tigers this year in general play as well as hooking. Papanis wins that one. Folkes away to Brentnell, who chimed in. There's been elbow used, and Brentnell reacted with a punch. Brentnell gets it back. 5 metres from halfway, midfield. Get off him, says the referee. Too slow. Just allow the tackle player to regain his feet and touch judge in. That'll be to talk about the Brentnall.
John Davidson was a Balmain player involved.
Brentnall elects to kick for touch on the grandstand side. It's just a good kick. Didn't go over the sideline by a lot, but made a good gain of about 26 metres. Mortimer moved there with Coveney, the run around, came on the burst. Mortimer again. Gielan, dummy pass. Brentnall came on the burst. Wrapped up strongly with Steve Mortimer. Referee telling Balmain to get back on side. Moffat, very, very strong. About 3 metres away from Balmain's line. George Papanis, he's in the end goal. Did he get him down? Referee says yes. That was a typical George Papanis try. We'll have to see that from head on to ensure the fact of the try. The referee's already awarded it, of course. See it from side on. George Papanis. And from head on. So he's about 5 metres out. There he is on the charge. Bit of slack defence by Balmain. Appeared to me to land on top of a defender, but the referee was close handy and looked straight at it and saw that he got the ball down. 3 points to Canterbury. Steve Gearan, the kicker, only 12 metres out, a few metres off centre. Strikes that well. Canterbury, and that's up on the grandstand roof and out into the street. Canterbury have come up with a lead of 5 points to 0. Brentnall takes that well. Gielan. Through. Right through. Ordinary Balmain defence. Got it away to Coveney. Coveney decked about 15 metres out underneath the posts. Canterbury on the boil. Steve Mortimer. Gielan looks to support. Brentnall's there. Back inside. The pass goes astray. Gielan swoops on it. About 10 metres out now from Balmain's line. Their defence threadbare on the occasion of that sprint by young Gielan. Coveney. Papanis, Steve Mortimer, long passes called for, folks, wrapped up. Robinson on the blind side of that ruck, probably get it from Moffat. There it goes. Oh, and he very nearly unseated the defender there. Last tackle. Steve Mortimer, up she goes. Pressure. That's it. Lift high in the air, took it cleanly, as he so well does with his Aussie Rules background. And Canterbury have surged away after 14 minutes to an 8 points to 0 lead. It'll be 10 points, one thinks, almost certainly after the kick. But here's the kick from Mortimer. Brentnall coming through in the middle. Left high, took that beautifully. From head on, it'll look more impressive. There's the Mortimer kick. Now beautifully taken. Strikes that hard and firm out on the street again, and there it is. 10 points to 0, Canterbury, and they're... That'll be a scrum penalty against Percy Knight for an incorrect feed, one thinks, but the referee's got also Whittaker for striking prematurely. Penalties after this early stage of the game have favoured Canterbury 3-2, so they've had pretty near all the possession. Brentnall, left foot to touch on the quarter line. George Papanis, Moffat, Steve Mortimer. Oh, he's through! And loads to Folks. Folks back inside to Brentnall. Oh, so easy. On to Peter Mortimer, and he's underneath the posts. They're tearing Balmain apart here. 13-0. Mortimer just got through the tackles and loaded at exactly the right moment. See it again. It was just from a set-piece move, a restart of play. Now watch Mortimer get through 2 tackles. Bilberger was one. I think Clark was the other. And loads nicely back into Brentnall. And Peter Mortimer was there just to do the easy part, putting the ball down underneath the posts. $13-0 from head on. It's going to look very, very easy. Gearan with his 4th attempted goal. He's been successful with 3. That's one of them. 15-0. In 18 minutes, they keep this up, they'll win by 50. Worst possible start for a young, inexperienced team with a lot of new boys in it. Barry Ross.
Yes, well, that's another thing Ted Gossett was talking about before the game. A young side, if they go well early, can get better and better, but if they go bad, well, they can fold.
Well, I'm not suggesting they're folding, and I don't think Ted Gossett would either. And I know you didn't mean that, but that's the worst start for a young team. They get desperate. They're not getting any possession at the moment. Their major consideration now must be to get some ball and hold on to it for a while. Chris Anderson back to Geelan, who's out on the wing now. Coveney, Steve Mortimer, Casillas. All done with ball work and skill by Canterbury. No bullocking play. It's a bit of bad luck. There's the ball if they want it. You're going to have to look for the ball, Balmain. Some of their players stood around with their fingers in their mouths. Schaefer's moved up, the fullback. He's got it now. Bilberger. Good acceleration. Pillen. Ian Thompson. Opponents the tackler around the boots. Percy Knight. Lloyd Martin. Good pass to Wiggum. No, it's gone astray. Gillen sweeps on it. Barry, the line-up on this Canterbury side, what's happening with Geelan there playing on the wing at the moment? Was Anderson midfield? Was that the story?
No, I think that that was just part of the last move the Canterbury side had, and Geelan filled in like a good lock forward, just covering the position while Anderson was away.
Well, he's been out there for three lots of plays.
Yes, well, Anderson's back there now on the wing, and Geelan's going back in towards infield now.
Right, here they go. The opponents, a beautiful pass out to Mortimer. The dummy, away to Anderson, through one tackle. All Canterbury at the moment, they're doing it so easily. The back's lined beautifully deep. Mortimer's going for the little, I thought he was going to do the little chip over the top. Paponis, Moffat, the quarter line, and that's the 6. Can't get the ball into the scrum. Canterbury come up with another scrum win. They're doing it all. Brendel steps off a pass. And it's very much a one-way traffic at the moment. Balmain in total disarray. Moffat charging straight ahead. Settling the play down. The error situation, as you'd expect, Canterbury with all the ball have made more errors. But not... 3-1 at this stage. 3 times they've given the ball back to the opposition. I don't think Balmain have had it more than once. Folks, the dummy looks back on the inside, comes to Peter Mortimer. Only about 10 metres out. Steve Mortimer. Long floating pass. Folks takes it. There's an overlap out here if they give it. There's Gearan into the corner. So easy. Beautiful pass from Chris Mortimer. And Balmain players really in walking around with their heads down at the moment. They don't know what struck them. We've had 22 minutes of play and Canterbury are leading 18-0. Sucking all these young players in. Too many defenders trying to take one player. The overlap was automatic. Stephen Kerr was left posted out there with 2 men running at him. No shame on him. Just too many Balmain players going for one Canterbury defender. Look at the length of these passes. Beautiful stuff. Really classic football they're laying on, whether you're a Balmain supporter or not. One wonders what goes through the mind of a coach. Frank Stanton at the moment would be... Oh dear, he's going to kick it, as he know, just shoved the upright. That would have been adding insult to injury. So there it is, a horrible scoreline if you're a Tiger fan. Canterbury 18, Balmain 0. Balmain back standing up enormously shallow. Hello, 2 in a row. It's a feast. Lloyd Martin away to Wigham. There's an overlap if they can use it. They can't. Owen Davidson wrapped up with the ball. Now he unloads to Grounds. Back inside to Phil Schaefer. He's on the sprint. He'll score too. Go round. Make it easy for your goal kicker. Chris Mortimer chased him and insisted that he put the ball down there. Otherwise he'd belt him over the dead ball line. So they've struck back the young Tigers. Recollect, we're being critical, but there's 7 youngsters in this team that have probably only played a handful of first-grade games between them. Here's the way they did it. Good quick hands. Wigham. Now there was an overlap there initially, but unfortunately Davidson couldn't do much about it then. But he was able to bullock away to Grounds, the wing three-quarter who'd come crossfield, and then to Schaefer. Schaefer went for the sprint. He was pursued hotly by Dave Moffat, who did a pretty good job for a second row. But Chris Mortimer was the authoritarian fellow there. He kept him honest and didn't let him go around behind the posts.
Uncreative.
Whittaker talking to some of the young blokes on the side. He's not that old himself, but he's had a lot of first-grade games. Now, that's a great kick. Possession, possession, possession. It's got to be what Percy Knight's talking to them about now. Rod Morris should grab hold of this ruck too and start to put his power into it. Lloyd Martin looking to run. Still about 8 metres away. Pillen on the charge. That's good, strong stuff. Whittaker very slowly to his feet. Lloyd Martin. Percy Knight. Oh, that was very close to being intercepted. Really, the dump sold well and surely to John Davidson. Percy Knight, the little kick. Steve Mortimer has it. Got the keeping possession now, not giving the ball back to Canterbury at all. As Gearan come midfield. Evades one tackle. Beautiful pass. Way to Gearan, living on this right side of the field. Look at him go upfield. He gets to halfway. Look at Robinson coming on the burst now. There he is. Gives a pass away to Chris Mortimer. Back inside to Folks. It's a try. It's a magnificent try. They've torn them apart. Shredded them. That started from their own corner. Robinson sprinted 60 metres to get to that ruck. What a great try. Balmain in disarray. I criticised Percy Knight for not keeping possession on that 6th tackle down there and taking the scrum. There it is. Chris Mortimer on his shoulder. The pass back inside to Folks. Done so simply. And the Premier side from 80 showing their wares today with a vengeance. Head on. There was Robbo. I promise you he sprinted between 50 and 60 metres to get to that ruck. And Folks had the pleasant duty of merely taking the ball and running. This from the quarter line and 13 metres in from the sideline. Breeze such as it is at his back. It's a goal. 23 points to 5 and 5 minutes to half-time. Results in the earlier games. Canterbury won the under-23s. There's a differential penalty against Balmain for going down in the scrum. Canterbury 13 defeated Balmain 4 in the under-23s, and the Balmain reserve grade 22-0, a resounding victory over last year's reserve grade premiers. crowd here at Leichhardt. From the taps restart, Gearin crossfield slightly. Paponis at dummy half. Coveney. 10 metres out. Paponis. Switch of play. Bacillus. Oh dear, that's awful. That is awful. Dave Moffat eventually scored the try. No criticism of Canterbury intended, but the defence was, one word, pathetic. Barry?
Yes, well, as I said earlier, Rex, things are getting worse and worse, and it's lack of experience showing this. They've just got to tighten up their defence because this is the best side in the competition to run the ball.
Well, there it was from head on. You'll see that there's virtually no defenders there. It was a very set-piece move. It was a good move and it worked, and but look at the freedom of movement he was given. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Canterbury fans applauding their team as they walk back. Gearin from almost directly in front, another 2 points to the little man. He's got 13 points so far. 28 points to 5. Canterbury lead. Well, that's better. They've done something a little different, and that's good. They've kept the ball low and made it bounce awkwardly, and they've made some ground. Now they have the opportunity, perhaps, of getting the ball back from the scrum. Or a penalty. A little bit of a bleep needed on the audio there as Peter Mortimer throws the pass. Gearin did badly there, a nasty little flick that didn't do anyone any good. Gearin swooped over onto it, playing a fine covering game today. Casillas, always a tear-away sort of a player. 20 seconds to go to a merciful half-time for Balmain. Peter Mortimer showing some pace up the middle. Gielin's there. Gielin's away. He can score. I don't think Whittaker will catch him. And he hasn't got his shoe on. And Whittaker's taken off and taken him down. There's still going to be a try. Strictly speaking, according to the rules, a player must be clad in all his regalia, shoes and socks and jumper, and he didn't have a shoe on as he scored the try. Now watch it come off. He's run out of it there. Now it's only a small carping point, but there it is. What a fine effort from Whittaker. No double movement, but a great effort from Whittaker. This man is a hooker. That was perilously close to the applauding Canterbury as they come up. It really has been a devastating first half by the Premiers. 31 points to 5. And away they go for the second half. There are changes in the both sides. Barry Ross has been in the dressing room. The changes, Barry.
Well, there's three changes in the Balmain side. Kerry Hemsley is on the front row for Ian Thompson. Bill Hilliard for Rod Morris. And John Sparks, the young 5'8" from the Australian schoolboys, for Lloyd Martin. For Canterbury, Stan Cutler is on for Greg Brentnell, who's suffered a strained medial ligament of the knee.
John Sparks playing in number 15.
Yes, I haven't checked the numbers as yet, Rex, but they're the three Balmain changes. Frank Stan was rather hot under the collars, as to be expected in the Balmain dressing room. He shut the door, and that's very unusual, Frank. No one except the team was in the dressing room, and Frank read the riot act for some time. Canterbury, meanwhile, Ted Glossop praised the side. They played well, he said, but next it's 0-0 score now. He said, let's keep it going, and it's a new game. Don't let them in.
31 points to 5. Canterbury lead. Now let's see whether Balmain can make some impression. There's the ball been spilled but come backwards, so Canterbury have retained possession. Robinson had it stolen from him. Coveney collected it. Paponis, Steve Mortimer, Folks, Peter Mortimer. Now there's a big rap on this young John Sparks playing at number 15. He'll be at 5'8".
This is another Wollongong product. Come from the same club as Bob Fulton. He lives in the north of Wollongong area, the Balgownie area, but played with Western Suburbs down there, the club that Bob Fulton came from.
Bacillus getting some heavy treatment there. 10 metres into Balmain's half. Coveney. Mortimer. Robinson again, charging, cracks the first line. Crowd loving, and that's the 6. When I say the crowd, I'm referring to the Belmore crowd, of course. Telecast brought to you by Mazda and your local Mazda dealers. Percy Knight was all over Steve Mortimer like the bubonic plague there, give him an inch to move. And now he's going to be cautioned. I think there'll probably be a kick at goal by Guerin. Score moves along to 33 points to 5 in Balmain's favour. 6 minutes to the second half gone. Kerr drives it deep. Guerin takes it on the full. Whittaker's tackle. This one, magnificent try for this Balmain side today. There's Whittaker. Basilis. Canterbury forwards that have been an eye-opener today. They've just broken Balmain up time and time again. This fella, Moffat's had a good game. Robinson has a good game.
Rex, referring to Bilbija, that the origin of that name is Yugoslavian.
Thank you. That's good defence. Wiggum the tackler. Well, that'll be a knock-on. Again, Balmain have failed to come up with a drop ball, though, from Canterbury, and that's something to be rectified by Frank Stanton. Correct feed. Percy Knight will take the tap. There's no point in going for goal now. They've got to get tries. Rectified. Reserve grade. Whittaker. Hilliard and dummy half. Percy Knight. Craig Clark. Penalty has to be against George Pathonis. Take the tap again. Whittaker quickly. Percy Knight. Rodden Pillen. Still about 8 metres away. Percy Knight. Pillen set up for the dump there. Bilbija set up for the dump there by Percy Knight. Terry Hemsley not making any impression on this Canterbury defence. Knight, long floating pass, cuts out a man, John Davidson. Pillen, Knight, one-handed pass. Went about 25 metres of but went an inch. Peter Grounds collected it. Hilliard. Bilbija threw a bad pass. Canterbury have come up with it. Steve Mortimer. Healing, beautiful footwork. First-class first half, along with many of his teammates. Peter Mortimer. Wrapped up by Knight. 33 points to 5. Steve Mortimer will kick over the top just too far. Schaefer will take it. Brings it back well. Tackled 10 metres into Canterbury's half. Will Hilliard. Sparks, the scorer of a good try in reserve grade for Balmain. Well taken by Wiggum. Back on the inside, it's been intercepted. Away they go upfield. Steve Mortimer. Long floating pass. Wiggum's offside. Chris Mortimer. The pass there to Chris Mortimer from Peter. The kick ahead has been taken out of the play. The referee will rule on that, but Guerin may well score. There's the little kick ahead and the dive. That's a fair try. No argument about that. Too quick, too smart, too well positioned. And Balmain in complete disarray. What's the move? Right across field it comes. See, Wigham was offside there, couldn't get involved in the play. The cleverness of the pass, the little grubber kick ahead, taken out of the play there. And you'll see that Stephen Kerr came up with an injury and Gearin was able to do the kick again and score the try. Whittaker again doing the final chase. Really, they ought to be paying this fella by the mile. He's run miles today. Great stuff. Look at Pillen there. He's a hooker, remember. Footing it with a winger. 10th attempted goal by Gearin. He's had 6 successes. And that one's hit the upright and failed to go over. A little bit of luck for Balmain. 36 points to 5. The score remains. I think it's disappeared. George Papanis is going to take it home, I think. Out comes the Canterbury side. Cutler. That scrum situation has gone 7-3 in favour of Canterbury, and they've won the only 2 scrums of this second half. The penalties are 8-6 in favour of Balmain. Coveney busts the first line. Basilis runs into trouble. And 14 and a half minutes of this second half. Folks, Peter Mortimer, back to Folks. The run around. Cutler, Steve Mortimer. Got his man into the clear. Back on the inside from Basilis to Anderson. And so easy. A little bit disgraceful, the defence, one must say. Now watch this acceleration. Here he goes, sideways, through a gap. Hemsley really couldn't accelerate. He has played a reserve grade game. Anderson perfectly positioned from a Casillas pass and underneath the posts. The crowd are starting to leave the Balmain section of it. Eleventh kick at goal coming up for Gearin. This one will go down into the bay. Strikes that beautifully. It's a goal. And 41 points to 5. They've been beaten by this score in recent times. Scrum win to Canterbury. Cutler. Well, Schaefer effectively held him up there. Steve Mortimer going for one of those little electrifying runs. That pass looked a little bit forward, but here's another break by Canterbury on up the middle. Gearin at dummy half. Steve Mortimer, the run around with Gearin, accelerating. Beautiful pass to Folks. Wrapped up about 5 metres out from the line. Long pass out to Moffat. Balmain in complete disarray. Steve Mortimer. Here's Mortimer again. Oh dear, Anderson in. Mortimer's had an electrifying second half. Every time he runs, he puts somebody through a gap and over they go. He sprinted back to get to dummy half so he could run from there. The little fella's so keen. There he is. Stops, props, Anderson trailing him up the inside. And from here, look at the way he ran back to get into that position. Gearin. Unsuccessful. Score remains as it was, 44-5, exactly 20 minutes to go. The kick-off. Oh, Moffat. Very out of character mistake. It's a bit of slackness. Hilliard. Whittaker. Knight. Long floating pass out to Davidson. Into Wigham. He's passed on to Grounds. Grounds back to Wigham, to number 3. Davidson, and he's in for a try. Now that came totally against the run of play. It was the Percy Knight pass, the long one. There it is, almost the length of a cricket pitch. Out it went to the wing. On there to Davidson, went through some ineffective defence from head on as the shadows crossed the ground. Ted Glossop, Canterbury coach, must be pretty happy with his team's form. And Steve Mortimer, look at this, look at this, look at it, look at it! Underneath the posts, or just to the side, absolutely electrifying. And a vintage performance from Mortimer in the second half. A most incredible solo try. Well, Whittaker again on the chase there, and I keep coming back to this fella. They ought to cast him in bronze, Balmain, after this game. He's done everything and he's chased and tried. He's not been able to stop any of the 3 tries that he's chased, but he's been the last man there. 14th attempted goal by Gearon is successful. And he's amassed a pretty tally, 22 points. George Papanis continuing to dominate this set scrum situation. The allowed cheer go up of Balmain win one when he had one in the second half. One-way traffic. Folks. Downing. There's the ball stolen from him, but still they don't get it. Gearon's kicked it through. Could be a try to Gearon. It will be. Balmain so slow to react to the loose ball, as I've commented on several times today. And Gearon comes up with try number 3 for him, and a personal tally of 25 points. Well, there it is. The ball just lying loose there, and Gearon swept in. Kicked the ball into the in goal and planted himself well and surely on top. But I want you to watch the slowness of the Balmain players in reacting to the fact that there's a loose ball. Of course, they're exhausted. They've been chasing all day. There was the ball stolen by Knight. And Gearon really had nobody within 10 metres of him when he scored the try. Attempt number 15 coming up. He's been successful with 8. And that might just straight away. I thought it was going to straighten up. Considerably larger had he been right on goal-kicking form. 52-8.
Alan Zealand leaving the field for Canterbury.
Balmain win a scrum. Sparks onto Schaefer. Tackled nicely around the legs by Chris Mortimer. Percy Knight. Long floating pass, attempted to be taken. Canterbury come up with it. Knocked on by, I think, Craig Clark. Downey. The length of these passes Steve Mortimer's throwing. Robinson. Oh, there's an error. Gearon loses the ball. Try to Balmain. Oh, they couldn't pick it up. There's a try there. If Stephen Kerr just picks the ball up and walks for 5 metres, he was going to score a try. Well, what's the old saying? When you're hot, you're hot. And when you're not, you're not. Penalty to Balmain. Down to the last couple of minutes of play.
There's no doubt that this is a new club record for Canterbury Balmain matches. Biggest winning margin and biggest highest score.
Sparks, Schaefer. Very leg-weary Balmain forwards jog slowly into position. Craig Clark Wigham. He can't be very far away. It'll be a just reward if Whittaker can score a try. But he's not going to from there. Wigham. Knight. Sparks. Inside the last minute now. Percy Knight. Oh, he's offside. Well, the referee's claiming that that came not from another Balmain player. I suggest it did. And the Canterbury players are not real happy with that one either. But let's see it again. Well, if that didn't come off the Balmain player at the back, the scoreline is. Now watch the hand. Yes, well, in my view, the Balmain player that finally handled the ball was about a metre in front of the last Balmain player that touched it. And I think we can all say, from a Canterbury point of view, it has been a magnificent performance. Enough said about the Balmain performance. It was very, very low. For the Canterbury side, they've come up with 12 tries and 8 goals. Gearan kicked all the goals and also scored 3 tries. The other try scorers were Greg Brentnell, Chris Anderson 2, Peter Mortimer, Steve Folkes, Steve Mortimer, Alan Geelan, Dave Moffat. And George Paponis, the captain, got 1 too. For the Balmain side, tries to Schaefer, Wigham and Davidson, and 2 goals from 4 attempts to Stephen Kerr. Award winner today, and how do you pick an award winner among that group of Canterbury players? But we went for Geoff Robinson, the big Canterbury forward, whose bull-like charges resounded round the ground and really had a top game, but everybody in the Canterbury side did. 13,000 was the crowd, incidentally. And just another statistic, Canterbury, that score of what it was, 52-13, is the largest score by the Canterbury club against any club. And it's in the last 6 games, the Canterbury side have beaten Balmain, so it's been a very good weekend for Canterbury. Next weekend, we've decided to do the